Welcome to a 5-part film series produced by the Manitoba Indigenous Tuberculosis History Project, an Indigenous-led and community-engaged Indigenous health history research project. This is Video 4. These resources are meant to empower families, communities, and organizations searching for information about loved ones who never returned from a tuberculosis sanatorium and Indian hospital in Manitoba from the 1930s through the 1960s.
Well, my name is Walter Wastesicoot. I'm a citizen of York Factory First Nation, and I'm currently the Grand Chief of Keewatin Tribal Council. I never met my grandmother. Her name was Flora Beardy. She was married to my grandfather, Josiah Beardy. And the sad thing about their story is that my grandfather, Josiah, went to his grave not knowing where his wife was. I decided to start making inquiries as to what happened to her a few years ago. And I've since found that she was taken in the spring of 1958 to the Clearwater Lake Sanatorium because she was sick. She arrived there in the spring and she passed away in September. She died that same year. She was 58. She was buried at Mile 6 Cemetery at the Pascagoula Cree Nation. It's just north of Big Eddy. When we learned of that information, my wife and I went there 2 years ago in May to go and locate the burial site. We were directed to Ralph from the University of Winnipeg's research project. So I made contact with him and then we went and found the site. And he talks about so many other unmarked burial sites that are there from all over northern Manitoba, Nunavut, Ontario, different locations. Because people all came to one central location to that sanatorium that existed back then. And I never went home. My immediate thoughts are to those that feel that sense of loss. As I said, I never met my grandmother, and I wish I was able to meet her. She passed away 1 year before I was born, but I did meet my grandfather. He was a very, very kind man, and I'm sure she was that way too. But I don't have that living memory of her, so I'm sure that's the case with a lot of families. I knew my grandfather when I was a child, and from meeting him and then myself being taken away to a residential school in Dauphin, Manitoba, that shortened the time frame that I would have had to get to know him more. I was just a young child when I met him. But the biggest impression he had on me was his kindness. That's all I feel when I think of him, when I see him in my memory, that kindness. I do have family that recall him wondering where his wife was, what happened to his wife. And as I said, he went to his grave not knowing. So any family that are still missing to people, and I know that there's a lot of grief there. Sometimes there's a lot of anger there. My big question was, they took her from home to this place for help, and then they just buried her wherever it was convenient for them, and that's not right. They should have returned her to her husband, to her family. So it's always the ones that are left behind that I think about, and the family afterwards, the ones that question how their loved one was. They don't have a living memory of that loved one. It's a sad chapter all the way around. So I have yet to confirm with our family what we want to do, whether to repatriate her remains to York or to leave her where she is. Some have said it would be best to leave her where she is, and others immediately said we'll have to bring her home. So I reached out to the government of Manitoba, University of Winnipeg, to confirm what steps I need to take to repatriate here, if that's what the family chooses to do. I'm told there are certain forms that have to be completed, certain departments within the government that have to be consulted to facilitate that process. I don't really... One thing we have to do is confirm that that is in fact her, and the only way to do that is through DNA testing. So there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, explored, to confirm what we're going to do either way. I think I have to respect the wishes of her family, but I think the immediate overwhelming response was to return her, take her home. Thank you for your interest in the story, and I just hope others take the time to reach out and find families and repatriate them or honor them where they are. It's important.
That concludes Video 4. Video 1 is tied to Part 1 of the Burials Guide and gives a general overview. It shows how to gather useful details and shares practical research tips, like doing database searches using keywords and techniques for linking information between Indian residential schools and hospitals. Video 2 focused on hospital-specific research on the Dinaver Indian Hospital, the Clearwater Lake Indian Hospital, and the Brandon Indian Sanatorium. Video 3 focuses on hospital-specific research as it relates to Ninette Sanatorium, St. Boniface Sanatorium, and Norway House Indian Hospital. Be sure to watch the entire series.